Okay, so shared by the African Thousand People recently on X saying Africa's largest economies by GDP purchasing power parity, that is PPP. Hi, my name is Rashi SA. Welcome to the African Time. Well, we are actually going to discuss Africa, and this time around we are going to discuss the Africa's GDP, but mainly purchasing power parity. Okay, let's see which African country and how African countries are doing great concerning these figures. Okay, let's go. So number one on the list is Egypt. Egypt is said to have a GDP purchasing power parity of $2.37 trillion. Wow. And number two is Nigeria. Nigeria have a PPP, GDP PPP of $1.56 trillion. Number three is South Africa, $1.03 trillion. And number four, we have Algeria with $866.72 billion. And number five is Ethiopia, $471.11 billion. And number six is Morocco, $418.45 billion. And number seven is Kenya. Kenya is said to have $401.36 billion. And number eight is Angola. Angola having $392.4 billion. And number nine is Tanzania with $291.05 billion. And lastly, at number 10, we have Ghana with $285.96 billion. Okay, so this is it. This is something we are going to discuss today. The topic today is Africa's largest economy by GDP and then also purchasing power parity, the PPP. Well, and then as you can see, Egypt is leading though with a population of around 100 million people and having a PPP of $2.37 trillion. Number two is Nigeria, a population of around 200 million people and having 1.56 trillion. And again, at number three is a country of around 60 million people but having a PPP, that's a purchasing power parity of $103 billion. So this is something that you should know about your top three countries in Africa and the top three countries concerning their GDP purchasing power parity. Okay, based on their population size and these things, what do you think or how do you see their growth to be? At the comment section, let me know or let me see what you think. But before that, if you are someone who doesn't know much about what the GDP purchasing power is actually means, or let's see what we have here. So it says PPP is a concept used to compare the relative price levels of goods and services across different countries, allowing for a more accurate comparison of economic output and living standards. How it works? Well, it says that PPP is calculated with the exchange rate needed to make the price of a standard, that is basket of goods, the same in two different countries. Okay, so basically it's actually letting us know that the PPP, that's the concept of the PPP. It's actually something that will help you to calculate or to accumulate and notice how the purchasing power of the countries varies. Okay, how they have the zeal or the purchasing power of the country's economy is actually able to compete with different countries. That is what the PPP is actually all about here. So I need to enlighten you guys to know what we are talking about here if you don't know much about it. Okay, so basically the purchasing power of a country. Now you get to know that Egypt is actually leading. It's followed by Nigeria and then South Africa. Well, I will say that based on the top three or the top five, meaning the number four being Nigeria, number five being Ethiopia, I would say the South Africa and Nigeria are two countries that are actually doing great because they are actually having the least population here. In the top five, they have the least population here, but they have one of the highest purchasing power in Africa. Two big outs to these countries, and also every country that's finding themselves here too. Also in the top 10 too, I would say a country like Ghana is actually doing great. Tanzania is also doing great. Well, I'll say these countries are doing wonderful. So basically, all the top 10 countries here, you guys are marvelously doing well. We need to keep this up, and then hopefully Africa can be great again. Well, so let's go again to the PPP thing. Well, why is the PPP important? Well, this is what Google has for us. So it says comparing economic outputs. PPP, that is purchasing power parity, adjusted GDP figures, provides a more accurate picture of a country's economic output compared to using market exchange rates as they account for differences in price levels. Well, that's one important thing though. Number two is comparing living standards. So the PPP helps to compare the cost of living and the purchasing power of income across different countries. That's so true. And then lastly, it says understanding international trade. PPP can help analyze the competitiveness of a country's goods and services in the global market. Okay, so examples to this is the Economist Big Mac Index uses PPP to compare the price of a Big Mac in different countries as simple illustration of price differences. As again, the World Bank uses PPP to convert national currencies to a common currency, that's international dollars, to compare economic aggregates like GDP across countries. That's cool. So limitation to the purchase PPP, that is purchasing power parity. It says it's a theoretical concept, and in reality, exchange rates don't always perfectly reflect price differences due to factors like trade barriers, non-tradable goods and services, and expectations in the foreign exchange market. So, and again, it says that the basket of goods used to calculate PPP can be difficult to define and may not perfectly represent the consumption patterns of our country. Well, that's some limitation to it, but as we all can see and agree to what is actually shown here, it's actually a good figure to actually compare GDPs and purchasing power of a country. So it's basically important to know this about the African country and African continent at large. So what your country listed here in the first place, let me see. My country was here, is Ghana. We have a population of around 35 million people, and we are here being number 10 in Africa. We're the number 10 highest purchasing power country in Africa. That's beautiful. So let me know if your country is also here and which number are you guys are, and do you believe that your country is actually doing great to be achieving these heights? Well, as you are also about to share your comments and thoughts here, this is also some comments and thoughts by other fellow African people too. Well, this one came in and says, Nigeria has Africa's largest economy. Poor data and lack of proper documentation is why they are second. Well, that's a Nigerian though. Man is saying that, well, today's Nigeria is supposed to be leading this because they have the largest economy in Africa, but Nigeria is actually not here because of poor data and the lack of documentation of some things. So that's why they are second. Well, again, this one says, this is unbelievable. South Africa, with a small population, yet has a bigger purchasing power priority. Impressive. Well, mainly as I said, I'm so much impressed with South Africa's figures up here. You guys are doing wonderful. Big shout out to South Africa for this one. You guys are awesome. Well, this one says, how did that small Ghana get into top 10? What do you mean? Well, let's see the reply from a Ghanaian. A Ghanaian came replying to this and says, because its people are hardworking, very small but hardworking individuals. Well, that's so true though. Ghanaians are actually hardworking folks. We are doing great, and then hopefully our hard work will pay off, because we are not actually seeing our hard work impact on our economy yet, but hopefully things can change for the better, and the good people of Ghana can actually enjoy this. Well, this one also says Ghana purchasing power is in top 10 in Africa. I don't know why people are surprised to see Ghana in this. Well, we're actually doing well for ourselves. What do people mean by that? Ghana is a mother country to Africa. We actually gained independence earlier. We should have even been leading this, although with our population though. But we're doing fine. We are doing great. There's a lot of things to actually do, but hey, we are doing our best here. Trust me, we are doing fine. All right, so based on how people were actually concerned with Ghana issue, I was like, why are everybody asking why is Ghana here? Why is Ghana here? So I asked Grok myself, that's an AI tool on X, and then this is what they have for me. So it says Ghana's $285.96 billion GDP PPP ranks 10th in Africa, driven by the reasons. So driven by one is rich natural resources like gold, that's Africa's top producer, and oil. Again, a strong service sector, that is 42.03 of GDP, an industry of 31.99%, and then it says effective economic policies and a stable political environment. Well, among all those things, I know Ghana is actually the highest top producer of gold in Africa, which we Ghanaians still don't know the value of it yet, so we don't know where the money goes. But for a fact, one thing I can actually agree to is that Ghana have a stable economy, or a stable environment for anything to actually go through. Okay, we are a peaceful country. Come on, bro. We are peaceful people, okay? Well, that's something for Ghana here. So to the people who are actually doubting why Ghana is here, this is why, okay? So don't be too doubtful. We are actually doing great. Ghana is a great people too, yeah? Okay, so this is something for you guys to actually learn and know about concerning African continent, and something to know concerning our African economy too. The name is Vidashi. Thank you for your time. Hopefully, you will subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and then share, and then hit the bell button to get more information about Africa. Thank you for your time.